All right, guys. Good morning. Welcome back to our usual crypto morning discussions. Yeah, so hope everyone has their questions because you can start dropping the questions. And what do you think about BTC price action? What we saw yesterday evening.
But I don't know, man, because what we've been seeing is the dump, and some more dump. So uh, we saw a dump yesterday,
Yeah.
which to be honest, from my own angle, I'm just like a sitting duck now, right? To see
Yeah.
what really happened. Are we going lower? If we are going lower, maybe we could, DCA into very good alts, because alts, some of them might still go a little bit lower. But the dump that we saw yesterday didn't really see uh, most alts that I'm tracking go lower than what they've gone, right?
Okay.
Rather, it just presented another opportunity for like swing trades, because they were like tokens we've mentioned and we've talked to people about. And when this dump happened, before this dump, the tokens pumped, like maybe it did like 20-30%. But as this dump again happened, most of them went back to good entry points. So I don't know, to be honest, right? I don't really know, to be honest. So we are looking at Bitcoin dominance dropping further. Now, in our last conversation, we spoke about for dominance to drop, also, it doesn't necessarily mean that, what's it called? The Bitcoin price must dump. Okay,
True.
meaning
Yes.
Bitcoin can stay stagnant, but if alt starts rallying, it would also contribute, to the decline of Bitcoin dominance. But now we are seeing Bitcoin still trying to dump. It's ranged at this point between 89 and maybe 93, right? And we are
Yeah.
still seeing alts, dance a little bit, because in Bitcoin, 1% dump. To some alts, it could be 15%, it could be 12%. Yeah, so the
But but
goal
but
here is to get, yes.
but here is an interesting thing. The market has been favorable for swing traders. And for those just
True.
joining, feel free to share the link, and you can also comment where you're joining from. Yet, and also most importantly, you can start dropping your questions or some projects you want us to look at. Very important. You can start dropping most of those questions. GM to everyone, and please feel free to share the link and invite anyone to join. Yeah. So the market has been quite favorable for swing traders. So, for example, if you look at the projects that we are keeping tabs on, like Sora yesterday dumped to about 2 million because I got back again. You're like the swing. You're like, personally, I have like a long term bag, then I have like a swing bag. Now, my swing bag, this is a strategy for those watching. The swing bag is the bag that I just target 15-20% profit and I'm out. He gets 15-20%, depending on the assets. For like Sora, I know that Sora can easily do 30-50%. As long as I have a very good entry, it can easily do 30-50%. And maybe even 100%. But to keep it conservative, it can easily do like 30% to as much as 50. So like that Sora, the swing bag I exited around 3.2, and I got back yesterday at almost 2.1, and this morning it was back to 3 this morning I exited. Okay, so that's just for swing, which was about 35% returns that I did, something like that. 35, I think that something percent returns. So something like that. Now, if you look at another, by the way, we'll soon share the screen to show you guys this project. If you look at like Gigo, I didn't exit because I still spoke about still holding that Gigo position because of I was expecting it to still move a bit higher. So I didn't stick to that strategy. If not, I would have exited with 15%. But I held on and it cancelled out the profit, got back to almost my entry, 121. And I think right now it's back to 128 or thereabout. But I'm still holding it, not in a loss, probably at 5-6% return up. But it hasn't really moved. But the point is, if I was still focusing on just swing for that giggle, I'd have most likely exited. Because I was saying that most times the strategy can be simple. You can just take out your capital. You understand? Let's say you're 15, 20% up. You can just take out the capital you used to buy it and just leave the profit. If you feel it will still keep going higher, that way you've totally de-risked your position. Yeah, so Sora was good. Giga would have been good, but I didn't close out. I'm still holding. Now, there's still some others that we are watching that have actually come down to a point of interest. Like, for example, I said something, was it Monday or last week? I said, whenever Zora is pumping, there is a particular token that always pumps with Zora, which is basis for everyone. I said that basis for everyone also moves. So I'm going to like briefly share my screen just to show you guys this. And after which we'll look into some of the stuff. Well, briefly, let me just share my screen to like show this. We looked at this chart last week. I think last week was the last time we looked at this particular chart that I want to show now. Is my screen clear?
Yeah, sure. Good to see.
Yeah, so you can see we drew this last week when we were looking at basis for everywhere, where I said that stuff that whenever Zora is pumping, basis for everyone starts moving. And last week when we were looking at this, I think that day basis for everyone had moved. It was moving, and I said the lowest point we have seen is this line, and we also have this too as a very serious support, which you should be paying attention to, because if we break it, to most likely come down to this point. So, which we did see that happen. And from yesterday night, I think Zora started pumping and this also started moving. By the way, I haven't accumulated this yet, except the one that I've been holding for long, which is like my profits, but I've not taken it. I've just been holding it. I didn't swing trade this, but if I were to, I would have bought it around somewhere around here. That's where I would have gotten it, or I did not. Yeah, so let's just briefly look at some of the stuffs happening in the market. Then we dive into some news. Then before maybe we'll take some questions and then look at the charts, because we have one or two trades we took yesterday, which would have to look at those trades. One was a BTC trade, but we'll look at that maybe in the next 10 minutes or thereabouts. For those joining, yeah, GM everyone. Someone said, Bello said he's joining from ABG. Good morning, Bello. How is ABG? Okay, that's nice. So we'll start responding to the questions very soon. GM everyone, please feel free to share the link. Invite anyone you want to invite to join. They should also bring their questions. Very important. So personally, I think looking at some of the news, let me just share my screen for some of the news, just briefly. All right, you can see my screen now, yeah?
Your screen is not live yet. Okay, yes, it is.
Okay, so I think the market is about to bounce very soon. One of the most bullish news is that of the US government. You can see this news as one of the top news. US government reopening may unleash crypto ETF floodgates, which is actually true. Most of what's been holding the ETFs has just been approval. So I'm expecting to see like a flood of approvals and serious liquidity injection into the market from like probably maybe December or thereabouts. Or I'm expecting to see lots of that. But generally speaking, I think next year is going to be very exciting. And if you also look at most of the dealings that Trump has been doing for the past 3 to 4 days, I was seeing the meeting he held with, I think, was it the Prince of Saudi, that's representing the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, where he said he'll be investing $600 billion in the US. And Trump was like, he would really appreciate it if he makes it $1 trillion. And right there, he said, okay, good, that they will invest $1 trillion. Like just there, right there, he said, okay, fine. that he's going to
And the
make
doing
investments.
definition of money now water.
I did tell you, like right there, as he said, what they're investing is 600 billion, but immediately Trump said, "I would appreciate this if you can make it like 1 trillion. That would really make sense."
Yeah.
And they said, "Okay, fine."
Mm-hmm.
He said they'll be investing $1 trillion. So the thing now is most of these investments aren't priced in yet. They have never started happening yet. Now there was something I noticed afterwards. The stock market started recovering. S&P 500 started recovering. It bounced, like strong bounce from yesterday. And Nas 30, Nas 100, they started bouncing. You get like there was like a strong upward push yesterday by the time those news started coming. So towards yesterday evening, most of them had already moved considerably well. Yeah, so the catch here now, and S&P 500 is still a long way from all-time high. Nas 30 is still a long way from all-time high. Nas 100 is still the same thing, a long way from all-time high. These are like the major ones that I pay attention to when I'm tracking what's really happening in like the US tech space, the top companies, and all of those things. These are the ones that I use as indicators. Now, the catch here is this tokens, or sorry, this asset class would definitely get back to their all-time high. We saw, remember, we saw S&P 500 worst crash in the last 10 years or thereabouts around February, March, when we had that Chinese AI hype and all of those things, where even NVIDIA, all of them, they crashed aggressively. But from there till now, they have gone back to like create new all-time high. You understand? And what there's something that most persons don't pay attention to. The way the dump and crash in most asset class is being lauded is not usually the way the pump is being lauded. It takes being intentional to go check and see that with this particular asset class, whether it's Bitcoin, whether it's S&P 500 or whatever, it's dumped like crazy in so and so months. You get around February, March, and it was able to recover in about 3-4 months to create a new all-time high. And this month we're in right now is the worst month that S&P 500 has had since that crash we saw February, March. Yet, so of all the months this year, aside that month, this is like the worst month. So you will be able to see clearly that it's like a buy opportunity. It's a buy signal. And when you zoom out, you look at what's happening in the macroeconomics, you get what Trump is doing, investments coming in. I think Toyota also said they'll be investing over $900 billion to build a manufacturing plant also in the US. So you have so many companies pledging. Even NVIDIA said they'll invest over 600 billion. You get so many have been pledging investment. You can't tell me that all of these things won't have like a ripple effect. It's not possible. And you see Trump keep pushing the agenda of creating more jobs. The $1 trillion pledge for investments from the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia is going into creating of more jobs. Basically, that's what it's going into. Now, more jobs mean people earning more. People earning more means spending power going up and them having more, plenty to invest. Where would they invest? And Trump is all about pushing crypto next year. Yet, so one way or the other, you'll find out that there's huge chunk of liquidity that would find its way into the market. So people just need to start like anticipating most of this move. Start anticipating because the market is shifting, the market is maturing. Dips don't last for so long again, unlike before. You get unless they happen to be like a black swan event that will just come and like create like a huge sell-off or huge FOMO. Like that was what happened in the month of February, March this year. That caused that huge sell-off in the market. And within about 3-4 months, that gap was filled up. People bought it back and it went back to all-time high. So imagine those traders that they are always looking out for opportunities like this, like dips that they can capitalize on. Those traders would almost always be in profit. To get identify solid assets, wait for them to dump, to your point of interest. Stay patient, as patient as possible. They dump to where you want to accumulate. You accumulate with conviction, and they give you that desired pump, and you exit, rinse and repeat. So you find out that that
Well,
strategy almost always works.
well, that's actually good on the aspect of the macro economy when we talk about the news in the broader space. So, but then most of the time, I like to bring down this thing to our own maybe chain of interests. You get how are things developing? For example, with like Ori chain, because we know that Ori chain has an Ori labs that's Ori US or Ori lab US, right? Are we seeing any correlation with what Ori is developing, how they are pushing maybe their US their US presence? Because I think one time, I think was it a Congress member that mentioned Ori chain as one of the AI pioneers in blockchain, and I know Ori chain was part of is it Google whatever. So it's more like these things can be happening in the macro scene, right? But I like to bring it down to how our change of interest positioning for these things. Because if the general market pumps, but then our own tokens that we're holding doesn't pump, we didn't really benefit from the general market, moving. And we keep on seeing newer chains enter the market and pump crazy. We saw that with Truster AI. We saw that with Chain Opera.
Yeah.
We saw that with the agent and a whole lot of other projects that pumped crazy, but that we hoped was Ori Chain. Because if Ori Chain did what Chain Opera did, Ori Chain would be nothing less than $200, right?
Facts.
And me and
Yeah,
you would have
facts.
really benefited from it because these are like AI blockchains, right? If Ori Chain did similar thing that Truster AI did, same thing, Ori Chain will probably be around $50 or more than $50. So these are like, I like to look at in your own view, what do you think Ori Chain is even currently doing? Because with this whole LFG, distilled AI, the market delay, and all that stuff, what's your take on Ori Chain currently?
I feel Origin is still doing very well. I feel it's still going to explode personally because they've been launching different boats via LFG. And if you notice, there's one very important thing. I think so far they've launched 5. They launched 2 more this week. I think so. They launched one for farming volume on Lighter, which Lighter is a DEX, a new perpetual, different perpetual DEX on its own that is actually doing well. And there's one other one that they launched that you can also use to trade on Hyperliquid and LFG, and I think also on Lighter. I think so. Now the catch here is they are launching useful AI bots not only for LFG. And what excites me is the fact that they are not dropping tokens for them. You get so I think they've learned something from there. But these boats will obviously generate money. They'll obviously generate volume. And they are still sticking to that strategy that they said they will launch over 100 boats. Yeah, I think they said they will launch over 100 boats. But the catch here now is these boats will extract value via people paying to use them. And all of those monies would funnel to LFG or Ori, generating more revenue for them. And part of this revenue would obviously be used to buy back Ori. Okay, so everything that they are building, if you look at LFG, if you see that it's written there, LFG on their Twitter, LFG by Ori. Yeah, so they are showcasing the power of the team by building useful products. Actually, that is basically and that's simply what they are doing. I don't see anything stopping them from doing that. We've seen the likes of Pump Form move to own dexes. You get, and they don't mind. They'll still build other stuffs. We have seen the likes of Jupiter move to create trading terminals for launching meme coins. You get. We've seen Bonk, the token Bonk, the meme coin, move to have like a copy trading wallet is sniping, TG Bolt, you get that has been generating good money for them. And next, they went to launch like a meme launching platform to rival Pump Fund, even if they are not doing as much numbers as Pump Fund. But you've seen all of those things happen. So tomorrow, Bonk can choose to also own their own DEX or be the DEX aggregator or anything. So when you expand your scope of reasoning in this space, you find out that nothing actually stops other projects from branching out and expanding. We've seen centralized exchanges. They were making so much money and they decided to now build their own blockchains. And we saw over 5, 6 blockchains. Almost all centralized exchanges have a blockchain.
Major exchanges here had the blockchain.
Yeah,
It was a trend at
yeah,
some
yeah,
point last cycle.
yeah, yeah. They all do. Binance, KuCoin, OKX, Huobi, and Crypto.com, Coinbase. At least about 5 of them or more than. They all have like a blockchain. And the crazy thing is why they built it was to add more value to their native token. Because all of them that had native tokens, it was more like the token wasn't appreciating in value, it was just stagnant. Yet, so them building their own blockchain, which they saw that nothing stops them from doing that, it made them to have like more utility for their tokens. Now we are seeing all of them move to own DEXs to stay relevant. Almost all of them. Bybit has their own blockchain. Bybit has their own DEX, which is Apex. Binance, similar thing. They have their own blockchain. Now Asta might move on to create its own blockchain too, but they are very involved. You get Coinbase has Base. I think Base is the ones, they are the ones that are pushing them. Aventis, I think so. That's DEX, AVNT, that's the ticker. So you find out that almost all of these chains, almost all of them, all of these exchanges, they are, to them, they'll tell you that they are heavily investing in the future of crypto. And if you look at it, it's not really like a bad thing that they are doing. At least they are making money and they are also still investing in the decentralized nature and all of those things. So they are ensuring that they secure the space and they make sure that there are no external players come to like take over the space and like push everyone aside. For me, I prefer let it be that is these initial players that are the ones doing these things than the likes of BlackRock to come, like those from traditional finance, to come and steal everything from the crypto space, and that would be too much power. Yeah, it will be too much power. So it's better that traditional finance they are late to the party. It's even better that way. They are late. Even if yes, they can come, they have deep liquidity, so they can come and accumulate most of these tokens and still have like a controlling stake when it comes to voting. You get all those DAO, no problem. But it's better than when they are the ones that actually built and own the protocol. So I would really want to even see like the Ori platform to expand and build more stuff like prediction platforms. You get, I would really like to see stuff like that. It doesn't matter the chain that they are building it on. It doesn't even need to be built on Ori chain. It doesn't necessarily need to be built on Ori chain. They can build it on another chain. They can build it to be universal. Yeah, but it would really, really make sense. Those are like things I want to see. And they can now be able to extract value and push that value to their own blockchain. So that's what I think, though. Personally, that's what I think about the project, all right, and what they're doing.
Well, hopefully we get to see movements in these are tokens of interest. Because to be honest, we've held for a long time.
Yeah, definitely we have. For those just joining, please feel free to share the link, invite anyone you want to, even if we'll be rounding up very, very soon. We should be rounding up any moment from now after we look at the chat and maybe a few other tokens afterwards. We should be rounding up. If you have questions, please drop the questions. We urge people to always drop questions early so that we can take as much questions as possible. The more questions we see, the faster we start taking those questions. Yeah, so someone says he's joining from Cameroon. I think that's Prince Will. GM Prince Will. Hi, it's Cameroon today. Hope you're doing great and hope the market is looking good for you. Yeah, so on my screen here, I have the BTC chart. So we took this BTC trade yesterday. We took this trade yesterday. this one here. That was when this trade was taken. So let me switch to the 1 hour chart. This trade was yesterday. This is a trade. It was yesterday. Now, this trade actually moved. It's a 1 to 2 right away. It's a 1 to 2. So this trade, now if you notice something here, this is my indicator, the indicator that I'm using. That's what is calling this dump. It's my indicator that is pointing this dump here, which it actually played out, but I didn't take the trade. And it's my indicator that also called this dump here. Yeah, so this trade was taken yesterday and it moved 100%. So it moved them 1 to 1. Now, for those that don't manage their trades, if you notice, I still said the same thing yesterday. I said it yesterday that when you take a trade, it's more important managing your trades than taking trades. It's far more important to understand trade management than just taking trades, because halfway through the trade or once you've taken the trade, anything can happen. It can be in news, it can be anything. And you want to ensure that you don't give back to the market. So what I advised was, once you're in a trade and it starts moving, if it gets to like TP1, you can adjust your stop loss and put it at break even, or you can put it just below TP1. And for this trade, I said it that yesterday that our TP1 is here, after which full TP is above it, which is here. Now this trade actually got to TP1. If you look at it, it's actually got to 1 to 1, because the trade is a 1 to 2. So if you check, it actually got to 1 to 1. That is it. It did hit 1 to 1. That's yesterday after we took the trade. It got there. So for those that managed their trades, you should exit this trade. It's profit, because it should take you out. For those that decided to just move to break even and leave it, either full TP or they break even with nothing but no loss. For those persons, they left with nothing yet. So it all depends on how you manage your trade. But now you can see that eventually late yesterday night, that was late yesterday night around 9 p.m. or so, it went and see just at that stop loss. So depending on the exchange you're using, for some it hit the stop loss, for some it did not. But I want to believe for most it actually did, because it went just to that stop loss price, and after which it reversed. I got back in after the reversal for just a brief 1 to 2, targeting the last high we saw before it started going down. No doubt, yes, it continued up, but that was okay. I just exited here. Yeah, so that's for the BTC chart. Now, what am I expecting from BTC? Now, you should note something, that when the market is on a downtrend, which for now we've been on a downtrend for like the longest period of time, it's been down, 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 down. I can't categorically say for a fact that we're going to pump up, despite the bullish sentiment in the market. I can't say that. Now, the reason I can't say that is because we haven't broken this particular resistance here. This resistance, we haven't broken it on the 1 hour charts. We haven't. You get, this is the high that created this low. This one here. This is the high that created this low. So before we can confirm that BTC is going towards the upside, we will have to break this high, which I was anticipating we might yesterday, but we didn't. Which was why I was paying attention to this trade, trying to manage it. We didn't. We went down and we created another lower low. And now we are most likely creating a lower high. So there's every tendency that this high here, if we don't go above this purple line, it will come and give us another lower low, or best case scenario, to give us a double bottom, and then we'll bounce. If you notice last year, when we bounced from, I think it's 8K or thereabout, it was a double bottom, something similar. It went and bounced at that same level. It didn't create a lower low, it just went, bounced at that same level, and it went all the way up. So you should be on the lookout for that. So that's why I'm not shorting this. I'm not shorting and I'm not going long. I'm just waiting. If it comes back to this zone, yeah, then I can take another long trade again based on it to be at a zone that I'll be okay risking some amount of money. But besides that, I can't just go and short from here. Personally, I can't. But for some persons, they might want to do that. But for me, I'm not actually doing that. But if you're intending to do that, just let me just draw this. I'm not planning on taking this trade, by the way.
For
But
me,
if you're
that looks like a good place to risk some money for a quick shot, right? Just
yeah,
stop loss is just slightly above the previous
yeah,
high.
yeah, that's it. So if someone that is looking to short it, person can do that from here. You can do it from here if you're looking at shorting it. But why I'm not is because of we have so much bullish news out there. Like
Okay.
just have some bullish news that might just push this. But the chart is saying we are going still down, lower low, lower high. That's what the chart is saying. We're still going down. But because of what we're seeing, the fundamental analysis out there, the positive news we're seeing, anything is possible. That is just why I'm still playing this very, very safe, like really, really safe. Yet, especially because this zone is actually a good zone. This its K range is actually a good zone. But if we fail to hold and we break, like I said, we're going all the way down to about 82, 83K. That's where we're going to. Yeah, so that's for the BTC chart. Let me see if we have questions before we round up. Is Monad public sale a good buy? Yeah, I have some friends that are participating in the Monad public sale. Taking questions now. I have some friends participating in the Monad public sale. Now, personally, what I didn't like is because there are too many Monad tokens. 100 billion Monad tokens, like just too many. And another thing is the market sentiment right now. So it feels like too much of a risk jumping into a pre-sale. Even if yes, Monad is very, very hyped, like really, 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 really hyped, no doubt. It has the hype and all, and we believe they have traction. They have what it takes to also pull some good volume and all. But looking at the market, it's not looking like the best time to do that. But it's a good project on paper. It's actually a good project on paper. But personally, I'm not participating in the public sale. To all those that say GM to everyone that say GM, Igwe, Pet Glitch, Prince Will, everyone, GM. So read one is saying with the current market, is it good to long LTC or it's better to short it? It's better to long LTC. I won't advise anyone to short LTC. It's actually better to long it.
LTC is basically struggling downwards because of the market sentiment. LTC just wants to pump.
Yeah. So like yesterday, it dumped to $89 yesterday LTC. Let me see if I can pull up the charts. It dumped to $89 yesterday. Almost, I had already exited my trade. I don't know. Can you see my screen?
It's not up yet.
Should be up. Should be up
yeah,
now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So this was like LTC. So I was already on this trade on LTC since on Monday, and it went up, and after it started going down. Now the crazy thing now is I already exited this trade based on trailing stop loss. I exited. But if you notice, it went all the way to $88, and after which it's bouncing back up again. So for me, LTC is just struggling to like really, really pump. This particular trade here, I took a loss because I did not set trailing stop loss or anything on LTC. So this trade actually went down and hit my stop loss. Still on LTC. These other ones are like brief short trades on LTC, profits and all. But personally, let me zoom out to a longer time frame, or to a larger time frame rather. Let me go to 4 hours. Okay, good. Good. So you can see the lowest LTC has gotten to this, the lowest. Now, why I took this trade was because it had filled this whole correction. So that was even why I took this, my last trade here on Monday. That dumped and filled these whole points, and you can see my SL was below that. That's where I had the stop loss, and I was expecting that bounce, but it bounced and BTC dragged it back lower again. So I had to set really stop loss and exit. So far so good. LTC for me, it's something that I'm expecting it to pump. That's what I'm expecting. But the market just keeps forcing it lower and lower and lower. But I do believe that once BTC stabilizes, it should break out. And the major place we're expecting LTC to break out from, where once we see that breakout, immediately we see that breakout on LTC, it will be like a very, very good opportunity for a good pump. Now, this is it. Once LTC is able to go above this 146, which this has been a 3 to 4 years consolidation zone. If it's able to break above this, it will start running like Zcash. See the way Zcash ran, that's just how LTC would run. And if you go down further to look at LTC BTC charts, this is it. If you go down further to look at LTC BTC charts, you'll find out what has been happening on this chart. LTC is actually trying to break out. This is charting LTC against BTC. It's trying to actually break out. It attempted to in the month of August and failed. It attempted to September and failed. It attempted to November again, and it actually failed. It attempted to sometime October when LTC got to 135 too, and it actually failed. So if LTC can actually, these are like the zones, it can break above this, next to be targeting somewhere like here, and it breaks above somewhere like here and it breaks out, then LTC will be bullish against the price of BTC. And that will be bullish overall in the markets, just like Zcash has been bullish against the price of LTC, against the price of BTC rather. So these are like some things that you need to look out for in the markets. Very, 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 very important. So let me see if we have any last questions before we call it a day. Any last questions before we call it a day? So, okay, someone said I'm joining from ABJ, Bello, GM, Bello, GM everyone. Anyone that I didn't highlight their message, GM. So if someone is saying, and Mantle, they are bringing more reward assets to their chain and has already partnered with Bybit, meaning more reward assets on Mantle. Yeah, I think Bybit, they are the owners of Mantle. I think so. Yeah, they are. So they're actually working together to make most of all these things happen. Mantle is actually good. They're actually good, and they did some really good returns in investments from second quarter till October. Mantle pumped real well, like really, really well. With the current market, is it good? Okay, yeah, I've actually answered this. So any other questions before we round up? Space now, do you have something you want to say before we round up? We've already spent about 40 minutes.
No. It's just for those swinging, there are like a few opportunities in the market for yet another swing opportunity. But let's see how the rest of the day goes till our next podcast in the morning. So it's just to say thank you guys for sticking with us, and also don't also forget to share the link, invite someone, leave a like, and yeah, we'll see you guys later.
All right, thanks guys, and it's always a pleasure hanging out with you guys. See you guys tomorrow.
Bye guys.